street.
Back in my day, you just had to worry about kids at school thinking your
And
mom...
she driving into school, bro. Imagine you getting out of the car and all your friends looking at you, and that's what they see. Like, my mom has OnlyFans, bro. Oh my God, no.
attractive. But now, some of these kids can search up their classmates' mom and find a little bit more. But the kids watching their favorite influencer get...
Yo, welcome to the... I want to make my own intro, but I just have no ideas, guys. If you have any idea. But yeah, the younger generation is not okay. Honestly, I have no idea what it's gonna be about.
20 to 30% of U.S. college...
Why do I like the video already?
20 to 30% of U.S. college students only have basic quantitative literacy skills. That's the ability to interpret numerical information to solve a real-world problem, aka a word problem on a math test. Over 75% of people enrolled at two-year colleges are not able to fully understand things they read. But although you may think this is information from 2026, this actually comes from a study in 2006. 2006, and here I was listening to middle school and high school teachers complaining that the kids can't read, believing that it has something to do with brain rot and social media. But what the hell were college kids doing in 2006? Sure, social media was kind of around, and I remember being a little kid in 2006 and consuming brainless content that probably had an effect on my developing brain, but I thought, like many other people, that the rise of content from the early 2010s to now is what was making the kids have a harder time in school. But 54% of adults in 2024 were reading below a 6th grade literacy level.
Annual. Wait, those are the same people that are saying that our generation is fucked up, we're dumb as fuck, and stuff like that, you know? You seen the statistics? You cannot say shit, bro.
So that shows me that intelligence is not what changed. Instead of Gen Alpha becoming less intelligent than their parents, they've instead just become more depressed.
Tell them you're hungry. Good, I'm hungry.
And this depression has been, of course, linked to social media use, which also did the same thing to Gen Z, who make up the current college kids who also can't read. Although academically, they're not much different than the millennials. But essentially, social skills are beat.
What are these glasses? They do not look tough, bro.
Academically, they're not much different than the millennials. But essentially, social skills are being traded for tech skills, since Gen Alpha is about 30% less physically active than millennials were at their age. Which is crazy how fast it happened. Me and my wife were still under 25 when the COVID pandemic started, which is when, for a brief moment, the world changed before the kids even knew how it worked. And this decrease in, well, happiness goes for all of Gen Alpha. Everywhere. You know, I was trying to make a funny video until I made this horrible discovery, but deep down we all knew it. I have never heard the words mental health so much in my entire life until Gen Z's little brothers and sisters made it to middle school. And I don't think it's the same as the people born in the 70s, 80s, and even the boomers, where the concept of mental health was kind of make-believe. Growing up as a kid in the 2000s, we were happier as a whole, because we had all the perks of the internet without things like negative comments, because it was so much harder for anybody to see any content that you posted. And yeah, there were still issues with body image, but not to the extent of today with looks maxing and teenagers and legit children being obsessed with cosmetic surgery.
Yeah, I actually remember like social media back then. I'm saying back then. Like in 2020 even, it was way better. I'm not gonna lie. Today social media is way worse for your mental health, way worse for... Yeah, it's just way worse, you know? It used to be way more positive, you know, so yeah, social media is definitely not taking a good
procedures,
turn.
Which I have to note was already happening in South Korea long before the rest of the world caught up. Although millennials do have to take the L for BBLs.
What the fuck?
South Korea long before the rest of the world caught up. Although
Bro, what the fuck? Nah, how do people even pay for this? Like, this doesn't look good,
do
man.
have to take the L for BBLs, since Gen Z wouldn't even know what it was if the older millennials didn't popularize it first.
Shaped like the letter P. ¿Qué es madre? Pobre señora, they had her looking like Squidward.
But my goodness, the kids are seeing guys like Clavicular, which although he admits he's not a role model and says not to do what he does, he's admitted to doing meth to stay lean.
So to get lean, I kind of have a different approach to doing it than most models. So like instead of doing cocaine to get lean, I actually do crystal meth.
That's why we wouldn't allow men in this skinny society.
Allegedly making himself infertile due to the things he injects into his body, and bone smashing, which is exactly what it sounds like.
I think bone smashing is probably like the least, it's not as bad as those other things, you know. Bone smashing, it's crazy, but compared to other things, It's completely
He
normal,
was
bro.
injecting face filler into his 17-year-old girlfriend's face, live. All essentially because he's insecure about his appearance. Which, bro, you could have still got a pretty girlfriend without smashing your face and making yourself infertile. And all of this is just about him being able to attract women. But bro, the type of girls you hang around, Charleston White could attract them just by having money. And you're 20, bro. I was in college at 20. Girls your age are not hard to impress. A nice haircut probably would have done the job. And he's of course also a bit of a racist. Please don't be like this guy.
He's
It's really escaping.
crazy racist.
Your
Oh yeah, look at his hat, bro.
for beating you up.
But he's a good example of this mental health crisis that we all know the world has been going through. The man permanently damaged his body to become more attractive to women. And he's just the most famous example, because many young men and women have gone through significant body modification just to feel attractive. Many things that would have been considered extreme
White
are becoming
max and skin bleaching. Oh my god. And of course, it's Clavicular's group.
normal. And as a result, the kids growing up don't know the difference. But whose fault is
Nah.
this, right?
People are
always wanna
changing
point
races just to be more attractive.
the
Like,
finger.
come on.
But honestly, it's kind of hard to say, at least without sounding like a conspiracy theorist. I can't blame people my age from 20 to 30 because the content most people put on the internet doesn't come from any hidden agenda, it's just their reality. And that's very different from a big celebrity endorsing a certain type of behavior or mindset, because when it comes to people like that, including the Kardashian Jenner family and even the D'Amelio family, I truly believe that what they promote is part of some agenda because, well, they're getting paid to push whatever their agency decides, essentially. And I feel like it's kind of the case with all the biggest influencers, like the top 1%. But when we're talking about some random streamer that's self-conscious about his appearance, this is not him trying to push his lifestyle on other people, for the most part, because he's just doing what he actually believes is best for him in his life, even if that means literally smashing his face in. Now, I do think that someone is to blame for the wider acceptance of doing adult content as soon as you turn 18, but I can't really pin down exactly who.
Does it trouble you that a lot of your fans are older men?
I mean, it's not, I don't really think about it that much. I don't think about it like that.
Yeah, that's
Your
crazy, bro. I
OnlyFans
remember
has
her.
no nudity.
I mean, no, not yet, at least. I'm not shutting that door because I'm very comfortable with who I am.
Or maybe it's not a person, and it's actually a group of people, or a corporation. But it's like
When
the
you think
era-
about it, 18 is still a child, you know? So, nah, bro. Nah.
of being comfortable in your own body quickly turned into something else completely. And the easier it is for people to see what you post definitely contributes to the mental health crisis. Like, imagine you're some kid in 2016 posting videos on YouTube. Unless your parents are
actually
brainstorming
used
the
to be
content
cool.
for you on a family channel and doing all the behind the scenes work, there's a very good chance that no one would have ever found your content. But then just a couple years later, TikTok happens and it's most popular with children. And not only that, but the audience of these children are children. You don't have to have any type of following to get negative comments on the internet. And as a child, your brain cannot handle it. Even most adults, like I remember this huge YouTuber named Whistling Diesel, saying he has a photo album in his phone that's completely dedicated to negative comments he received. And that cannot be a healthy thing to hold on to.
Why would you do
and not
that?
to mention the thing that we all joked about that many kids have to deal with in reality now, having an OnlyFans mom.
Lexi Thomas is a parent at Liberty Christian who wants this ad on another parent's car to stay off campus. That other parent is Michelle Klein, and what she has is an OnlyFans.
Hell no, bro.
It's
Nah.
definitely linked to, you know,
Nah,
explicit
bruh.
content, adult content, for sure.
Some moms
Oh my
complain to
God.
Klein and the school
Hey.
telling her
Thank God my mom is normal, bro. Why would you do that? And you would... Nah. There's just so many things wrong with this. Of course, first thing is you having OnlyFans. Second thing is you driving around the town with a sticker on your back saying you got OnlyFans. Come on, bro. Nah.
her not to use the main entrance and instead drop her kids off across the street.
Back in my day, you just had to worry about kids at school thinking your
And
mom
she driving into school, bro. Imagine you getting out of the car and all your friends looking at you, and that's what they see. Like, my mom has OnlyFans, bro. Oh my God,
was
no.
attractive. But now, some of these kids can search up their classmates' mom
Oh
and
my-
find a
Yo.
little bit more. But the kids
Bro,
watching their
that's
favorite
crazy.
influencer get cosmetic surgery or just watching people on social
my
media
God.
argue about things that don't even affect them, like the Super Bowl halftime show. Imagine how all of this is shaping the next generation. Half of them are going to be scared to have an opinion, and the other half are going to take a very strong stance in one direction just to prove they're not scared to have an opinion. And when I was in college, while I was having fun, I watched people have panic attacks and drop out within the first semester because of whatever mental health problem they were experiencing, just being away from home. And I can't help but think that this type of thing is going to just become worse. Who's going to be a doctor or a lawyer if everyone loses their mind before they turn 21? You don't need me to tell you that the kids are cooked, because you probably heard a million people say it by now. But man, it's starting to sound a little bit too close to reality. It's starting to actually sound true. But I'm sure it'll be fine, right? I kind of proved by looking through these studies that other people did that the kids aren't actually dumber than their older siblings or their parents. They're just sadder. And I guess that can go away eventually, right? I don't know, man. Kind of scared for the future. But then again, I'm kind of scared of the present. And I know that some of the kids have a good head on their shoulders, so I guess we'll just have to push them and hope that they keep it together. Don't forget to ask your little brother or your little cousin how he's doing. And I don't know, encourage him to go outside, I guess. I'll see you next time.
I agree with the video. That's facts, man. Yeah, today's social media is definitely depressing. It's definitely giving you a lot of negativity, you know. I just sometimes be thinking, damn, I want to live at least like one day in my grandpa's old days. You know, at least give me like one day. I want to see how life is, you know. I imagine just waking up, no phones, no nothing, like how you supposed to live. Honestly, bro, I'm so addicted to my phone. I think everybody is, you know. We just on our phones 24/7. And when I think back, it's like my grandpa didn't have nothing. Bro, just give me one day. And of course, like you may think, but you can just do it any day. You can just turn off your phone for one day and that is it. But it's not really the same. It's like everybody didn't have phones. You know, like the whole city was just way more alive. Because I remember even as a kid, you know, when the phones weren't like so, I t- I want to say they weren't as popular. I think phones were always popular, but as a kid, when phone addiction wasn't as strong, I remember everyone was outside. It used to be crazy, especially in the summer. Yo, the summers used to be crazy. Right now, it's kind of dead. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, we gotta do something about them phones. They definitely not good. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap up the video. Yeah, bro. Thank you for watching the video. I'll see you next time.